Y'all, we live in difficult times. There's war, political unrest, the pandemic, poverty, families being torn, communities ripped by gun violence and people dying every day. Police, injustice, it's all bringing so much pain. But y'all, we can look inside our minds and we can understand who we are, become better, and do this thing like we've never done it before. But it all starts with our mental health, and I know we can do it. I believe in you because I believe in me, and I believe in us. What did you learn from your family about connecting and being engaged? How did you go about it?
Ooh, okay. So you mean past tense or present?
It could be past or present.
So this is the thing, right? Presently, I have the experience of, I've never looked at it like that from the perspective you spoke on, right? But I could say that due to me living this lifestyle, working in entertainment, nightlife, you know, this choice for this line of business for me separates me from my family, right? And my friends. So, you know, because if I'm doing things that my friends or my family are not necessarily interested in, it's a part of what I do. That's my business. It's my thing. That don't mean that it has to be for you. You know, like your friends don't have to be into therapy and mental health. The same way my friends don't have to be into entertainment or into podcasts, or they don't. That's not a requirement. But because it requires so much of me, it separates me from everybody else. So it puts a strain on a lot of my relationships with friends and family. With that being said, the groups, the get-togethers, the gatherings, the kick-its, the functions, the connectivity all happen and continue without me. So it creates a situation where sometimes things happen. A lot of times things happen. It's gotten to the point where sometimes they don't even hit up. They don't even reach out to me. I find out about things after the fact because they assume that I'm just busy. They assume that I'm booked. They assume I can't be there. If it's the weekend, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? They don't even bother me. And even as I worked to get my time back and change that and make myself more available so I can be more present, I would still not get the calls sometimes. I would still not be invited to things. I would still end up missing out on things or not know or just forget something or let it slip my mind. And I definitely started to feel that out of sight, out of mindness that I was kind of applying to everybody else. Everybody started to also apply it to me. And so it wasn't like an intentional thing, like I wanted it to be that way, but it has kind of become that way. And now I have to actively work to try to break that and change it so I can get back involved because I want to be.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel inherently that you are not connected to your family? Do you feel connected or not connected?
To a degree, I feel like I'm not, because again, there's so much that I'm not able to. Like I got into this almost to have the freedom to always be able to be involved and connected in a part of things.
Isn't it ironic?
Right. But as it grows and becomes more demanding and requires more, you know, and also it's like, you know, of course, ain't nobody complaining when what I'm doing is able to take care of everything for everybody. But you know what I'm saying? It's like at the same time though, people also have gotten to that point where they feel some type of way, like almost as if I don't value them or they don't feel like they're important. So I feel there is a disconnect for sure. Like I wasn't at my sister's wedding, not and because I wasn't even invited to it. And to this second, that burns my soul up. But it ain't nothing I can do about what has already happened. I can just change things to try to make it so that that kind of thing never happens again.
Right. I got to understand. You guys want to chime in?
Yeah. You know, it's crazy because for me, you know, I grew up an only child, right? So I spent a lot of time to myself, and my parents were both busy. So, growing up, I was, by myself, latchkey kid, whatever you call it. And I was comfortable in that environment, just being by myself. That's cool. For me, it just, my mind was real creative, man. I just kept myself busy. And I always, though, envied or envisioned, though, having this large family one day. And so, me and my wife, we had 3 daughters. And so for me, this is a different environment to be in a house full of people, noise all the time and talking. And my wife, she grew up in that type of environment, her and her sisters. And, so she was used to that type of environment. She was comfortable in that type of environment. But for me, in my profession as a barber, I'm connected to people all day. I had to engage in conversation all day. So when I come home, sometimes I'm exhausted from that,
Right.
from the conversation and from having to engage all day. So then I be looking for my me time, for my space just by myself. And, but my daughters, they ain't feeling that. They jumping on my back as soon as I get home. They want to talk. My wife want to engage and talk. And so, I had to push myself out of that mode to do that. But I know, especially in past, there's times where I still isolated myself. And because I isolated myself at times, to your point, there's certain moments where I felt like I did push them off. Where they were like, well, daddy just go downstairs and he be by himself. And so, I be hearing them upstairs having some like important conversations about some stuff that I feel like, well, hold on, wait, daddy here, I need to be in that conversation. I need to be hearing that. So to your point, I be feeling like I be missing some of my purpose in that time frame when I'm not around for those conversations. So, it's been like a challenge for me because sometimes, like I said, in my natural self, I'm more of a loner type of individual, but my home environment, my family causes for me to be more community, to be more engaging in conversation and stuff like that. So it's been, kind of a challenge sometimes finding that balance.
Right. So for me, once I got in the sports business in 2018, I've been on the go, traveling. So I know I missed a lot of important things, and it hurts. So now I try to create a schedule where it's like, oh, I can't miss like my niece turning 16 in February. Right. There's no way I'm missing that party. I don't care what's going on. So I got to try to put my foot down because I feel like I lost a little bit of that connection with my family too. My sister graduated with her bachelor's. I went there, and she understood, but I was on the road. But I tried to understand, and I think now over time, I think it's communication too. So I got to communicate with my family, like, hey, there's some things I'm not going to be able to go to because I have to do this. But then there's some things where I'm like, no, I know my family's going to want me there and I have to be there because I still want that connection. Growing up, when I became a freshman in high school, my sister graduated and moved out. So I was kind of like isolated. It was just me and my mom in the house. So I still had that isolated mindset, but I also understand how it could be good because I would need time to myself. I need time where I shut the phones down. I shut everything down. I watch a movie that I want to watch. I want to relax. I want to just be by myself. But then there's also that other flip side where it's like, I still need community base. I still need my friends and I want to engage with them. I guess it's trying to find a happy medium. But I also would say, due to me wanting to be isolated, or second to what you said about, oh, I've been on the phone all day, I've been here, I've been running around, and I don't want to engage in my partner. I know for a fact I miss out on good women that way because I'm on the road. Let's say I'm on the road and I come home and they like, oh, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. I want to go to dinner. I don't want to go to dinner. I don't want to do this. I want to just lay down. I want to just relax. But that's a disservice to them. They didn't choose my career. I did. Right. So I think over time I had to kind of learn to say, all right, let me breathe a little bit before I go in the house or before I go into her apartment or whatever it is, to muster up the energy, because I got to give her the same energy that I give my clients, that I give my partners, that I give everybody else, because it is not right And I don't want to lose that disconnect. I don't want to lose that ability to have family time, to have friends time, to still be able to have a girlfriend and eventually a wife one day because I'm so exhausted and tired. I want to just be isolated. Right. So try to find it.
And this is good what you guys are saying. And I want to take this idea about isolation to another level, because in the process of isolation, what we also think about is being seen as not being accepted by people, right? Mm-hmm. So like when you think about our friend groups, if we are accepted by them because we have a certain personality, they see us cool, they like the shoes we wear, they like the way we dress, you know, we get accepted by them. So we're not isolated because of that. If we go to school and we get good grades, our parents embrace us, or they accept us and they are proud of us. So we feel more accepted more accepted and engaged by our parents. If we go to work and we do really well, we get accepted more by our coworkers, or we good fathers or good mothers. We get our children, you know, they accept us more. So the things we do is not just that acceptance or isolation is about having time for people, but being accepted by people is also about being the good boy. For me, I felt like it was always this challenge to be the environment I grew up in, to be that example, good boy, and try to present that at all times. And in fact, what's crazy is early part of my life, I thought the things I was doing when I got older, I would move into something that would actually kind of take me away from that. But I realized, becoming a therapist, people still look at me in a certain way to be that guy, role models, the right behavior and do things the right way and everything. And sometimes that's scary because I may not. So I'm trying to be my authentic self and be, this is Gerald. And I'm always uncomfortable with people that put me on a pedestal. I'd rather be around people that kind of know I got dirt.
A real dude too, right?
I'm a real person. Than to be around somebody always like, you so great, you so awesome, and all that. I'm like, oh, son, don't do that to me. Like I'm a man. I put my shoes on just like everybody else.
Right.
You know, and feeling that desire to be who I was. I remember when my best friend died and cousin, he passed away. I put on this front stage behavior to everybody because of the things I was doing at the time to try to feel like, I was okay. But all in honesty, I was hurting and I was bitter and I was just trying to move through my pain, my suffering, but I was there. Yeah. And I was struggling and people didn't understand. And what I would like to say about this thing about isolation and the way we're looking at it in this particular situation, I think about something I believe was said about it may have been said by Carl Jung. He said that loneliness is not all about the amount of people that are around you. You can have many people around you, but the idea of having many people around you and still feeling alone, that's what loneliness is. Yeah. Because nobody really gets you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the kind of isolation that in the long run becomes the most dangerous thing. Because you could work a lot, but you got people that get you on that, and y'all can vibe around that, that'll probably work for you. But to feel like you in a place where nobody truly gets you, that's the worst type of isolation. And that's why many people... Go ahead.
I want to chime on that because I felt that in my spirit when you said that, man, as far as I feel like the loneliest I've ever felt, and the times that I felt most lonely is when I felt like, I had to put myself at a certain level of isolation because I felt a certain level of expectation that people had on me, to be this person, either husband, father, son, barber, whatever the expectation that people had for me to be, that I felt like it was such a responsibility and such a weight that it almost felt like, and I'll be transparent here, man. It took me to a place of sometimes suicidal thoughts, honestly, because I felt like, man, the weight and the expectations that people had on me, I felt like I could never live up to it. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how much I would put forth effort to be that for those people, it never was enough, you know? And so because of that, I felt better by myself, away from the expectations. You know, sometimes I probably isolated myself. I know it was definitely seasons where, you know, I wouldn't see my mother, my father, my grandmother like I should, because I felt like, man, every time I came around, it was some sort of expectation of what I should be doing or how I should be. You know what I mean? So I felt that. I know that people go through that.
Yeah, and all those shoulds, you got to be this way. That's one of the things we have to be careful with in life is all these shoulds. Because the shoulds, man, sometimes they be effed up because they don't really speak to reality, because life is about a lot of shades of gray, and it's not necessarily always black or white, polarized like that.
Right.
You know, and so we have to think about that. But you want to say something?
Oh yeah, no, shoot, saying I felt it in my spirit too with the loneliness being in, because I could remember times, even up until now, like where I could be in a room full of people. I could be at my friend's house, family's house, room full of people, everybody laughing, joking, and I would just feel like alone in the midst of all of that. And I feel like sometimes I'm at my happiest or at my most peaceful, calmest when I'm just by myself. When I'm able to just shut my door, put my phones on Do Not Disturb, and just be alone. Like sometimes that's where I'm at my happiness, when I'm with no one. So when you said that, I definitely felt it. And I still feel it sometimes, even to this day. I could be at like a networking event or something, and I'm engaging with people. I'm laughing. I'm talking to people, and you would think like, man, I met this dude, Marius. He's super cool, and the whole time I wasn't even really even there. You know what I mean? It's like I'm in a room full of people, but yet I'm alone. Like I feel that. So definitely something, you know, people got to work on. I got to work on. But when you said that, it hit home for me.
It home for you? Yeah, that
sure.
really hit. You want to say something? No.
Man, listen. Yeah. Just yeah.
Yeah.
For
Hey,
sure.
Gotcha. The next one, look, I wanted to hit on is the idea of freedom, man. First of all, man, what is freedom, man? What is it? Like, what is it? Because
I can tell you one thing. It isn't free. It costs folks like you and me.
Yeah.
And if you don't pay your $1.05, who will?
Yeah.
I look at freedom, man. It's truly like, it's a state of mind, in my opinion, because, you know, to your point, like nothing is truly free. You're gonna work for something
Yep.
in life. You know, obviously we're experiencing more freedom than our ancestors did, or people who are incarcerated. You know, to be out here and literally have the option of choice. You know, to move around how you want to, but I really look at it as like a state of mind, because you could be in a situation where somebody could look at you like, man, you got it going on, you got all this money, you got it, but then you could still be a prisoner to your own success or something like that. You know, but it's like I feel free is at times where, you know, my mind is just clear of allowing myself to bog down of thoughts of worry and concern, and just knowing that, like, you know, like not worrying about bills, like, hey, either they gonna cut the lights off or they ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like, either they gonna repo this car or they ain't. Like, not being stressed and worried about that type of stuff. Like, it's just things, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I still got breath in my lungs and can move around, man, like, you know, I gotta find my joy, you know what I'm saying, somehow. So that's how I look at, like, freedom is state of mind.
Yeah, I say that I used to think freedom was being not incarcerated or locked up behind bars is freedom, but I think as I got older and as I'm starting to learn more now, I think freedom is just being able to live truly for yourself and not caring about what other people think about you or how this person might perceive you, but just doing what really you enjoy to do and what you love to do. I think nowadays that's really what freedom is. Cause I feel like if I'm so worried about, man, I gotta do this cause I want this person to like me, or man, I gotta do this cause this is what my friends want me to do, I'm not free. I'm living for them. I'm living behind them instead of living for myself and living in my own truth, not a lie, But like, I think that's what freedom is. At least that's what I think freedom is living for yourself.
You know, I want to say that freedom, you know, somebody say you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. But freedom, it looks at our life. We look at our life. I could say my mom was abusive and understand that I still have the power to have a life that I want to. My daddy was an alcoholic, and he needed me to emotionally be there for him and support him. He didn't realize how I was trying to be there for him and be supportive of him through his addiction. But I still find a way to have the life that I want to have. Maybe I'm economically challenged. Maybe I have some other type of physical limitation, or maybe I grew up in the hood and I was around a lot of things that was negative, but I had the awareness and the ability to understand that I had choices and I made choices versus responding and saying, you know what, I'm 35 years old, I'm struggling, and I'm blaming it on my mom, what she did when I was 15. Or I'm blaming it on the fact that my daddy wasn't there or around like I hoped he would have been. Because with that being said, you know, I oftentimes tell people this when it comes to those kind of issues. Unless that parent was different in character than the one that wasn't available, you probably wouldn't have had a different experience because they would have had to be somebody different. So now that you're conscious of what was in that experience, now you are empowered to do something different and make different choices. But if you don't see yourself as having the ability to make choices, then you're bound by your past experiences. So you don't have freedom. But some people are scared, uncomfortable with the idea that they have choice.
Choice, yeah. Having choices is scary.
Having choices. People are scared of the idea of having a choice.
Because then at that point, it's on you.
Oh, for sure.
It's on you. You can't. You know what? I tell parents oftentimes, one of the most powerful things you can say to a child who blames you for their life misfortunes is to say that I'm sorry. Because once you say I'm sorry to your child, guess what happens? They're talking about an adult. It takes the responsibility off of you as the parent, and it puts it on them to now go and do something with their life.
Yeah.
Because they can't hold you responsible anymore. Because you can't change what you didn't know or didn't do because maybe the parent didn't even know that they affected their child in the way that the child sees it. Maybe they thought they was doing the best they could.
Right.
You know, I'll talk about, you know, having a grandma who was a domestic worker and she worked a lot of hours, and my mom, she was like the oldest and she had to help raise her brothers and sisters. And grandma probably thought she was doing the best she can, but maybe they felt some way about their experience. Yeah.
Right. No, you're right.
Or maybe I didn't get those Nikes I wanted. You know what I mean? And I got this big problem. Or I didn't get to go to this dance or whatever. And now I'm holding
That
this
makes
against
me
my
think
parents.
about how I feel like, and this is my personal perspective, I feel like people rather live in unforgiveness than address forgiveness, than being able to forgive something. You know, it's almost kind of like going back to that concept of like they rather believe a lie than address the truth.
That's the whole point of this.
Is that concept, like, because I know people personally who they love sitting in unforgiveness. They love being mad at somebody. You know what I mean? They sit in that instead of being able to try to break down that wall of forgiving somebody and you know, opening up that relationship again. You know what I'm saying? Like they rather hold up that wall and say, nah, forget them, F them forever, man, you know, to death with them. Then even if that person tried to forgive or tried to come back in a humble way, it's just like, nah, I'm gonna stand up in this wall. And so I don't know. It's unproductive, man, for real. But it's probably easier for some people to do that too.
But when I hear what you're saying is, if we can't forgive, we can't be free, because holding on to the debt holds us back. So we can't move forward because we focusing on what happened in the past. So we can't focus on how we're gonna build our future.
For sure.
But some people use those experiences as some people use it as a crutch. Some people use it as an excuse. Some people use it as fuel, though.
But that's different. Go ahead.
No, for sure. So I mean, like I definitely see people like my little brother, who I didn't meet until we were teenagers. To this day, still be mad at our father. So it's just hearing you saying, you know, if my father were to apologize to my brother, then he'd take it off him. Like that almost is a thing that actually has to happen, because I'm talking about, like, I'll be 37, he's gonna be 36. We're 9 months apart. He still uses our father not being there for reasons why stuff messed up for him today. And it's like, bruh, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, you wasn't even an adult yet, bro. Like, now you are. You done made choices. You got kids. You got a house. You got a wife. You got, like, you can't, like, you just cannot still say that the reason my life is messed up is because of this. Like, that's wild, bro. Like, grab anything in this life, and it's like, dog, like, it's people who can't remember what they ate for lunch last week. Like, you not telling me that the reason your life is in shambles is because of something from 30 years ago, bro. Like, stop. Like, at what point do you decide that, yes, that happens, but, like, what is it, like, corny quotes, like, it does not define you? Like, do something else.
And
do something else, because nobody would see you and pick you out of a lineup, with the exception of the fact that you black, and say that you got father problems. You don't know. Nobody know that about you. So you don't have to carry that into every experience that you have in this world.
Yeah. Well, like
But
you said,
choose
use it for
to.
fuel. Use it as fuel. You could choose that and use that as fuel to be better.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you got your choice. It's either your fuel for you to be better and overcome what was, or it's your excuse for why everything is bad, and you just keep on walking into every element of your life with that on top of you.
Right.
And that's ridiculous to me.
Yep.
And and that's why and one of the reasons why we're having this discussion is why a lot of us struggle with emotions and struggle with anger, because we live with lies about people and expectations that people didn't meet. And so it fuels so much confusion and anger in us, versus realizing, all humans have issues, and even if the situation was different, I may have not gotten what I want. Hell, I know young men that got their first cases when their dads came around. So their dad would have stayed gone, they might have been better off. Keeping it 100, they might have been better off if they never came around.
Never came around, right?
No, you want to know, man, listen to this, and I will be super brief.
Okay.
I grew up in the hood. My little brother did not. I opted not to do hood things. My little brother, who never seen the hood, opted to do all the hood things. Tattoos on his face, neck, joined a gang. Why? Why would you do that? Like, what fuels you to bypass what you had as advantages and say, I'm gonna be stupid? Like, some people just make terrible decisions and will find any excuse in this world to try to make it like somebody else is the reason behind it. He has no reason to be that way.
Yeah.
And then got consequences behind it, and then complains about the consequences when that wasn't even your environment.
Right.
For this to even end up becoming your outcome.
Yeah.
It was mine. You know what I'm saying? So so not only did you not have that as your background, you also had a role model right in front of you that chose not to become a product of that environment that he actually came from. You had two. You know what I'm saying? You had two, and you still was like, I'm gonna be stupid. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Hey, you know what? But that leads us to our last thing of truth that we need to really evaluate. Inherently, life does not have meaning. We have to create or make a life that has meaning and purpose. What do y'all think about that?
I mean, I feel like that. I mean, I agree with it because like nothing happens unless you move. So like whatever this thing is gonna be is what it's gonna be because of what you make it. Now, of course, you got choices along the way, and like we've been talking about, you can choose to say, well, this happened, therefore this. But you could always say, I choose to be that. Like my mother, my environment that my family came from and grew up in, like my aunt, she lived one block over from where we grew up at. She still have all the people from the hood that ain't never seen past 4 blocks away be at her house and still be drunk and still be high and still be talking. And they're older. These are the people, these are my old heads. You know what I'm saying? So I see them and they never got past whatever their glory days was way back in the way back. My mother on the other hand, way back in the way back. But my mother on the other hand is a semester away from her doctorate. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, again, you have a choice of what you're going to make this life into. My aunt said this right here is as good as it's gonna get, and she was correct because that's the decision she made. My mother said, I want everything and I can have it, and has gotten every single thing that she went for. So again, it's that whether you say you can or you can't, either way you right.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that's a controversial question for me, man, because it kind of made me think about something that I heard you say earlier before we started, where you were saying like, you don't think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I kind of do though. Think everything happens for a reason, and that's just my life experiences and then my just personal beliefs. You know, I believe that Now I do believe what the word says as far as like all things work together for the good of those who believe in the Lord, right? Everything works for the good for those who believe in the Lord. But I still believe that everything works together. Everything happens for a reason. Even a life that we might look at as like, somebody who squandered their life off, right, and did something wild. Like I got a homie who got killed, right, and he actually was a poet too, and he did a poem called "Life Is What You Make It," and because of his life decisions, I felt like it kind of resorted into him getting killed. And I think that about a lot of people sometimes, they put themselves in predicaments where their life might not go the right way. But even that life, I still feel like in the right lens can inspire somebody, It can still provoke somebody to do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's still about choice and who's influenced off of what they're seeing off of that life. So I still feel like, every life has meaning, but I do think it can be, what a word I want to say. I do feel like it can be influenced off of good or bad decisions, but I feel like every life has meaning. You know what I mean? Like it's just about what path you choose and how you influenced off of that decision that somebody made in their lives.
Right, so Mary J said, "Life is what you make it."
Yeah,
You will find.
Yeah. That's just that's how I look at it.
So no right or wrong answer, in my opinion, on if everything happens for a reason. I think some things are self-inflicted.
See that?
So and this is like, I don't know why this is coming to mind. If I cheat on my wife and she divorces me, and I'll be like, well, we wasn't meant to be. No, you cheated and she left. That's not, we not meant to be. No, that's, you self-inflicted that. But some people will say, well, it wasn't meant for us to be, everything happened for a reason. everybody got their own thing. I don't think everything happens for a reason. I think some things are self-inflicted. But I feel like life is definitely what you make it, and whatever that is to you. You know, some people think that life is great if they're traveling or they got a whole bunch of money, but I know people who like that who are depressed and hate their life. I know people who got little but are happy with the little that they do have. So yeah, I think it is what all you make it, and just being okay with what you do have, but also understand, like you were saying, that there is more 5 blocks, more than just 4 blocks down the street, and understanding that. But if you okay with just your space and that's what makes you happy and you get enjoyment out of that, then do that. But yeah, so but that is I think some things are just self-inflicted. That's why I said everything doesn't happen for a reason.
You know, so the thing about meaning, I feel, and I've learned this as a therapist, you know, all the time I've been doing this kind of work, is that oftentimes people are looking for, and I learned this also growing up in church, people are oftentimes asking the question why, because they're looking for some sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. And like purpose brings meaning to life. So with the jobs that we choose, the relationships we get into, the spiritual walk that we have, all those things say something about our sense of purpose. And usually when we don't develop a sense of purpose, we might have chronic boredom. Because we're just kind of in a space. And sometimes I wonder, like, you know, because sometimes we don't challenge some of our young people in ways where they are exploring different ideas. And because they'll tell me, I play the game all day till I get bored. And what do you do? Yeah, they get bored. And so that says to me, they're not finding anything that actually brings them any enrichment or even meaning, so they can be more engaged in life and feel like they have a purpose, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So what we have to understand is everybody's different, and what they see as success, what they see as having a purpose can vary, but finding something, because your purpose may not be my purpose. My purpose may not be your purpose, but finding a purpose, something that you can engage and say, this is who I am, helps you. Because what happens for many people, because maybe they don't do that great in school, they go and find a purpose in the street, right? Or they don't find that job. That's because they're trying to find somewhere they connect. They feel like they have family. They feel like they so I got to have street cred, right? Because you know I ain't gonna do good at school because that's not where I roll at. But over here, hey, I am in this thing. I am doing my thing. I'm walking, rolling, talking, whatever in this space. So this gives me some sense of meaning. Think about it. People will give their life up for a purpose if they think it has some value. Those kamikaze pilots from Japan that would sacrifice nosedive and sacrifice their plane with themselves in it because they thought it would bring something to them in the afterlife. Their purpose was to dive that plane and to blow up that ship. That was their purpose. Meaning and purpose is essential. And when we don't find that, then it's hard for us to adapt. And so, but for many people, it's scary. I heard somebody say that you live 2 lives, going back to what you said earlier. The one that you just live, but the day you wake up and find your purpose, that's when you truly live. Hey, one of the things I like to think about with purpose is thinking about what you value most and seeking out life experiences that will allow you to do that. I used to say to myself when I was in my early 20s that I'm going to seek out experiences that will allow me to grow physically, intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally, and to seek the oneness of my higher power, of God. That's what I wanted to seek out. Yeah. And if things didn't line up with that, it wasn't in my purpose. It wasn't flowing towards my meaning.
Yeah.
That's good. So I try to encourage people to do that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I definitely, I mean, it's a requirement at this point. Like, that's why I refuse You know, it's cool for the listen. For you folks that have a 9 to 5 career, if you whatever, that's fine. For me, I'm not clocking in. I'm not going back to work. Like, I enjoy this. Like, not just being in front of the camera, but being behind the camera. I enjoy picking up my pencil and drawing for 10 hours straight and not talking to nobody if that's what I want to do, because I know when I'm done, I can post that thing on the internet and I can sell enough copies of it if I want to infinity and beyond, or I can sell the original for X amount of money. And I'm just know that I have accepted and embraced the fact that I'm too good at too much to have to take what you just will give me as crumbs. I'm not doing that. So it's like everything that I do got to give me that fulfillment or make me happy or make me feel sad. I only want to do the things I'm good at. I only want to do the things that make me happy. Everything else, it ain't for me.
Right.
I don't force nothing. I don't want to feel like I'm forcing anything. Not that I don't want to work hard, but I don't want to force nothing. So it's like, if it come natural, that's what I'm doing. If it come easy, if it make me feel good, if it make me happy, that's how I operate. So I don't want to do none of that other stuff.
Yeah. Let me ask y'all a question. I have a question. Because I wasn't talking to you.
Exactly.
Do you guys feel that you can really connect with people who can't really articulate to you a sense of purpose and direction in their life? And they don't have to come out and say, this is my purpose. But you talk and you engage them, you feel like you know kind of like where they going, how they moving. Do you feel like you really can truly engage people? And I would say more in like an intimate space where you really connect with them.
Keep it funky with you. That's a part of why things didn't work out with my daughter's mother and I, because she didn't have a thing. Like, and it's fine, because some people don't. Some people don't. Like, everybody don't have some passion or a talent or a gift or whatever you want to call it. Some people don't.
Or they could be at peace in their space and what they do, but you sense that they okay with that. So they work at Kmart or whatever store, and they work at the wear factory, and they okay with that, and they live in that space.
Right.
But that's different than somebody who's
right. But see, that's the thing though, because that's that major disconnect. Because for somebody who is content with what they got and who they are and where they are, there's that level of not being able to understand somebody who does have that driving determination, that passion, that thing that they go for every single day to day. That's like, I have to do this. I have to have this. This is a part of me. This is who I am. To have somebody at your side who just cannot understand it, it is so much harder to try to have that level of connectivity with that type of person. Like, that's another one of them things that it came to a point where I felt like we were forcing it. Because it's just like, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
One day when it was like, hey, when you just gonna stop doing that and just go to work? It was just like, literally never.
Yeah.
Like, literally never. And the fact that you just asked me that is wild to me. So it's like, that's critical.
Right. And when I mean intimate, I don't necessarily mean it has to be like a relationship. But it can be somebody. It can be your friend. It's like,
but that same thing applies across the board though.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
like I said, you got a friend who will look at you like, dog, I don't think that's gonna work. You shouldn't do that. I don't know. I wouldn't do that. Hey, maybe you should just go try that. Like, no, maybe I should try what I'm doing. And you would suggest that because you don't get it, because you don't have this in you the way I have this in me.
Yeah. I think there's me now. No shot, no way. Because the way I operate and the way I move is like, you got to have some sense of urgency with life.
Right.
And what you got going on. You don't have to do the same things I'm doing, but you got to have that drive. You know what I mean? You got to have that want, that you know that there's something on the opposite side of the wall. Like, one of my favorite movies is Maze Runners, but I'm looking at it reverse. I'm looking at it how he was looking, like, what's back there? I got to see it. So I need people around me I need to see what's back there, what's down the shit around the corner. I got to keep going. Now, we could be cordial, but as far as being intimate, as far as kicking it, as far as like, I can't do it. Because even my friends now, we talk about life. We talk about how we could be better. We talk about relationship, whatever it is. But we constantly trying to find ways to be better in whatever we're trying to do. Regardless if it's like, yo, I got a new workout, I think you should try. Whatever it is. And your sense of urgency gotta be that way. If it's not that way, you really gonna irritate me a little bit because I'm that way. And if you not that way, I'm gonna be irritated like, why are you not that way? And then it's gonna be like a lack. So, and whatever it is, I wanna be around people that just want to be better. And whatever their space is.
Yeah.
And if it's not like that, there's no way. Not me now, no.
You know, and I think it's probably the worst when you around somebody that do got something and they just let it sit there and rot. And it's like they don't, that burned my soul up, bro. Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, you just not gonna do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not mad if it's just not for you. Because there's definitely people that be like, you don't host no more? No, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you don't rap no more? No, I'm not doing it. But I didn't just abandon all things that are me, though.
Or you
know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
but just to watch somebody just completely waste it,
that's annoying.
Burns me, bro.
It used to irritate me too to see people not operating their purpose, because for me, I felt like I found mine at an earlier age than most. You know, like I tapped into it because I felt like, as we were saying earlier, like I had a near-death experience and at a young age, and when I came out of that, you know, I felt like God gave me a vision for my life that I've still been operating in. But one thing that I tapped into as a part of my purpose is that I am a motivator to other people to find their purpose. Right. You know, I realized that that's what God basically, the people who he has around me, like from my clients to my family to my friends, I know that I'm an inspiration source for them. And I know that, you know, I help them, you know, tap into what they could be doing with their gifts. You know what I'm saying? So
that's good. That's good.
I look at that as a part of my purpose is to help people tap into their purpose, you know?
That's good. I like that. And I feel the same way about that. I like to help people tap into their purpose. Now, one of the things I'll say, and one more point after that is, I remember, you know, I have these friends, and I had these different sets of friends, and I'm trying to build my business, go to grad school, take care of things. I had these friends, Gerald, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. You got to keep doing it, man. What can I do to help you and everything? I had these other set of friends be like, man, you working too hard, man. When you gonna take a break, man? What's with that girl? You know, hey, yo, can I get 5? Can I get 10? You like,
hold something.
Yeah, let me hold something. You see what I'm saying? And they're in a whole different space, and it almost feels like they provide this excuse for you not to be focusing on what you really need to be focusing on. But those other individuals, they like kind of hold you accountable. Like they kind of push you and everything. And they kind of help you stay on path and understand and stay in your purpose and stay in your meaning. You have to understand who those individuals are, because everybody can't be in the same space.
That's real.
But look, we started off talking about lies, man. And the thing when people say things happen for a reason, depending on what they mean when they say it is critical. Because some people say it as a coping mechanism to not to deal with the truth, maybe to what you was talking about. Other people take it, and I say, well, if you say things happen for a reason, what did you learn from it? And now what's your plan moving forward to help you better understand or help you move forward without that type of crisis happening again in your life? How does it motivate you towards your goals, your dreams, or improve life?
Yeah.
But if you just saying, oh, everything happens for a reason, and you just keep doing the same thing, you know, you had a problem. Okay, things happen for a reason. I got in a bad car accident, ended up in the hospital for a few days. Okay, I'm out. Well, things happen for a reason. Now, what did you learn? What did you get from it?
Yeah, you gotta learn something. If you're gonna say everything happens for a reason, learn something from the situation.
Every life experience is an opportunity for wisdom.
Yeah.
And when we get it, we can grow. But if we lie to ourselves and tell us, we just believe a lie, we can't get better. Yeah. So we can't change. And that's one of the biggest consequences of lies, is that it keeps us from being able to grow. We can't get better because we lie to ourselves about what things are. If I've been a hellion, I need to own it. Look, I've been a hellion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, fellas. So in this discussion, y'all got anything else y'all want to add? Before we
No, I think we hit.
Yeah, we got on them points.
We started this conversation talking about self-deception and lying. We looked at it from a societal level, and then we went into some more personal, more intimate, interpersonal ways we might look at lies, hoping that if we become more aware of who we are and be honest with ourselves, we can have the growth that we want. I heard somebody say, to thine self be true. When we honest with ourselves, we don't really have to lie to anybody else, because when we truthful about who we are and we are willing to make the changes necessary to improve, we will. But if we stay in a state of lying only to avoid emotional pain, we won't grow. 10 years later, we'll be in the same spot asking why. If you like this discussion, please like us and subscribe and put your comments in the comment section down low. And you can dog us if you want. That's okay. I receive it as love and joy because I'm just trying to grow and be a better person. Y'all see, I got my pink on today, right? Does it make me a little girly girl? No, it doesn't. See, the lies we tell. I can be very masculine and still wear pink.
Still wear pink.
Because I like pink. I like to wear it with gray too, y'all. Anyway, anything else? Well, we'll see y'all next time.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. All right, bye-bye.